Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Elden Ring NIGHTREIGN. And this has a network test starting this weekend. The key invites just went out today, so if you were able to get selected, which I was, not really sure how many keys they sent out, you'll get to participate in the network test starting this weekend, so that's exciting. Just wanted to pop in and, I'm learning a little bit more about the game because I had not heard of it until I got an email or saw something, I think an email saying, hey, do you want to sign up for the network test? And I was like, oh, cool, Elden Ring has like another expansion coming out, not knowing what it was. So now that we're here to actually getting the keys, I thought I better actually look into what the game was, because I did see it was a standalone game, a while ago, but, didn't really look too much more into it just since it was kind of down the road. So first off, if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, really appreciate it, helps me out. We hit about 1350 subs recently, so now we're going for 1400. Anyways, with that out of the way, so what Elden Ring NIGHTREIGN actually is, it is a roguelite. So you have like a day-night cycle, basically 3 15-minute days that result in a boss fight at the end of each day during the night. If you defeat the boss at the night, you move on to the next day, and then at the end of the final day you fight like a higher tier boss that's called a Night Lord, and currently it looks like there's 8 of those in the game. So thought we would just kind of take a look here real quick at what this is. So there are 8 different classes, and the areas are all kind of like randomly generated. So just a quick list here on what the classes are. Only 4 of them have been officially announced, but you can see kind of the theme or the idea of what the other 4 classes are. So we've got the Wilder, who switches between a great sword and a small shield. They have like an arm-mounted crossbow, kind of similar to the arm like grappling hook in Sekiro. Each class has like their own ultimate ability, so that's pretty cool. His is like a huge fiery explosion kind of thing that shoots out of the crossbow arm, so that's pretty sick. Probably more of like an all-rounder type class, if I had to guess. We've got the Duchess here, who is kind of like a roguelike character, has a Bloodborne quick step instead of a dodge, so that's interesting. Like, she does seem like more of a character out of probably like the Bloodborne game, and it seems like they're kind of making NIGHTREIGN sort of like a mashup of all their previous titles, even bringing in bosses from previous like Dark Souls games, which is pretty cool. It'll be interesting to see, like, it sounds like they'll have some sort of lore explanation behind it. Then we've got Harvey Birdman here, who is like a tank called the Guardian. Sort of, at first I thought it was a helmet, but I'm pretty sure he's actually like a bird dude, because he's got wings, he's got like bird feet. His ultimate ability, he can jump up into the air and come like crashing down. It looks pretty sick. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I think the Duchess's ultimate it doubles the damage, like repeats an attack or something. Maybe that's not the ultimate, maybe it's just an ability, I'm not 100% sure.
With Asana,
but I think this guy has like a affinity for shields, at least, possibly also with axes. I'm not entirely sure. For sure, an affinity with shields, though. Then we've got the Recluse here, which is like a mage. We haven't seen any like gameplay footage of her, just sort of screenshots. She reminds me kind of Rani from the Elden Ring lore. Like, basically the same outfit, the same long, like, white silvery hair. So that's interesting. I'm curious if it will play, like, into the lore. So these are the 4 classes that we know of. I don't know if all 8 classes are going to be in the network test or only the initial 4, when you look at the Elden Ring like network test thing here, it just shows like these four classes down here. So I'm assuming that, you know, we've got the one guy, the bird guy, like the all-rounder bird guy, the mage, and then the duchess. So I'm kind of thinking those may be the only four classes that we get to play in the network test. Um, and then so here we are to the four classes that we haven't like got official like full information, just some footage of them in the trailer. So this guy uses like a huge bow and is more of like a long-ranged archer character. This guy here has like a great axe, and we see him do this like huge leap into the air to launch himself towards a boss, assumingly to like do some kind of like devastating attack. This character also seems to have like this sort of like katana wielding character. At least that's what we see in the trailer. He's got like a katana using some like holy attacks. And then he has sort of like the deflect mechanic from Sekiro. You can see him like deflecting attacks from this boss he's fighting. This character here, we don't really know if this is what he looks like. This is just what this individual took out of the trailers as possibly being the character. I assumed that this was probably a boss. But not for sure. And I did find a little more information on this character. So, in this, they're suggesting that it's a healer, possibly with some summons. But I did just read an article that one of the classes is going to be geared towards using like Ashes of War. So I'm assuming that's what they meant by the summoner class when they were discussing summons. So I think this last class is going to be geared towards Ashes of War that we are familiar with from the original Elden Ring game. So again, just very very interested to see how this will actually play. It's like 3-player co-op. You can play solo. You can't play with 2 players. Your options are either solo or with a party of 3. You can play like there is a party finder type mechanic. You can still use like the password system to group up with, you know, individuals that you are wanting to group with. So that's cool. The environments are going to be like randomly generated. It's sort of like a warped version of Limgrave. I think this is called Limfeld, or maybe I've mixed those two up. It's one or the other. And you'll kind of like fly in, almost sort of like Fortnite-esque. You'll fly in on this hawk, and then you've got, you know, your daytime to level up, get gear, get loot. You can carry up to 6 weapons. There's no weight system. You run at like 150% of the speed in Elden Ring. You can like climb up walls, do some sort of like parkour stuff to get around because we don't have the mount anymore. So that's interesting. When you get downed or like knocked out, you go down onto the ground, and then instead of like a revive mechanic or like a revive animation, the way that you get your party members back into the fight is you actually deal damage to them. So that's kind of interesting because you can maybe like jump in, keep fighting. Like most of the attacks have like splash effect, so you can probably keep hitting the enemies and your downed teammate at the same time to like revive them. That's how you actually revive characters, is to hit them. So that's kind of cool and interesting. Again, so like with the Fortnite aspect, sort of like you fly in, and then the area starts to close in around you as the day progresses. So your area that you can explore becomes limited and reduced in size as the day cycle of the game progresses until you get to the nighttime again when you fight like the bosses. So very interested to check this out and play it. I think it sounds pretty cool. I've always been a big fan, and I've always really enjoyed roguelike games. And, you know, the way that this is being presented, I think could be hugely successful, you know, not only for gamers, but also for the company, like FromSoft, if they're able to kind of like do this rehash and like use all these resources from their previous like development cycles to create a new game. Very interested just to see like how it's going to be received and how fans are going to take it, how the industry, the gaming industry will take it. Maybe this would help alleviate some of the just you know problems that the gaming industry has been facing, and I'm hoping that it will be successful and well received. So definitely going to be playing this this weekend, like during the network test. Fortunately, it's happening for me like on a weekend that I have off from work, so I can really dive in and try it out. So again, if you guys are interested in these types of games, please hit that subscribe button. I'm currently looking at testing this. I'm pretty hyped about Monster Hunter Wilds at the end of the month. I think I'm definitely going to be getting that and playing it. And then there's a couple other games like Legacy Steel and Sorcery, I think, that comes out tomorrow, like on February 12th in early access, that looks, interesting to me. It's made by like former World of Warcraft devs, like the original team, and it kind of looks like what I'd always like hoped and imagined like WoW was gonna be before it was released, sort of just like a PvP VE type game where you're going in and killing stuff, getting loot, and then it's like extraction based. So that sounds pretty interesting, and just curious to see how that plays out. I could see it either being good or it being bad. I may wait and just see what the initial reactions are before I put any money down on it, just depending on how much it costs. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And remember to give them the D.